Chat, it's been 5 minutes. Time for me to milk Hydrapple again. So I was and energy just decided that it didn't want to live anymore. I was requested by somebody on TikTok that they wanted me to explain how to play the deck. And of course, me being the Hydrapple guy, I'm always down to put more people on Hydrapple. So let's get right into it. I will more than gladly explain to you all how to play this deck. The more people, the better. So first I'll open with the opening rolls. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Teal Mask Ogerpons. This deck is your main way of building up, or this is the main way of building up damage in this deck, because Hydrapple, as I will show you in a minute, does increase damage for each grass energy in play attached to all my Pokemon. And Ogerpon has an ability that says once during your turn, I may attach a basic grass energy from my hand to this Pokemon. And it is not restricted to being once per turn, or once per, use. So I can use 4 in one turn to get 4 energies out at once. This is my main draw support, and my main way of increasing my damage with my Hydrapples. Then I run 2 baby Ogerpons, which the main use is either to Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon, or use its Mountain Stroll ability, if I'm going second, to search my deck for 2 basic energies and to put them into my hand. So in this case, search 2 grass energies, and then the next turn, if I don't get my hand shoveled into the deck in some way, attach them to Teal Mask Ogerpons to draw. And then Pheasantipity, which is a support Pokemon that's in literally every deck. When a Pokemon gets knocked out during my opponent's last turn, I get to draw 3 cards. So those are the supporting Pokemon. For main attackers, I have Iron Leaves, which is a quick get-out-of-jail-free card with its ability. When you play this Pokemon from your hand down onto the bench, I get to rapidly bring it up into the active and then move any amount of energies from my benched Pokemon to this to be able to attack. So it is a quick free myself from retreat lock, free myself from, anything like that, pretty much. It's a free get-out-of-jail card. And then the main Pokemon, I run a 3-3 line of Applin, Dipplin, and Hydrapple. I use these two rather evenly when it comes to attacking, because Dipplin is a really solid single prize attacker, which lets me attack twice if I have the stadium card Festival Grounds in play, which is right... Let me find it. Right here, Festival Grounds. When I have that in play, I'm allowed to use Do the Wave, which does 20 damage for each of my benched Pokemon, twice. So I can do upwards of 200 damage to my opponent active. Or I can use Hydrapple, who does 30 damage, plus 30 more damage for each grass energy in play. These are the main attackers, mainly because these are who I'm going to be swinging with the most, just overall. Next up, for item cards, I run 4 copies of Bug Catching Set, which lets me search the top 7 cards of my deck, and I'm allowed to take out any combination of up to 2 in grass Pokemon and basic grass energies, so I can get out a Teal Mask Ogerpon and then a grass energy, 2 grass energies, or 2 grass type Pokemon. The only thing I can't get out with that is Pheasantipity. And then I run 3 Nest Balls, which just lets me search my deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto my bench. Iron Leaves does not work with this card because it needs to be from my hand, not from the deck. So if I want to use Iron Leaves' ability to where I can move it into the active, I have to play it from my hand to the bench, not using Nest Ball. I then run 2 energy retrievals, which lets me get 2 energy cards out of the discard pile and then put them back into my hand, which lets me accelerate things which lets me get out more grass energies to do more acceleration. Then I have 2 Night Treasures, which lets me get out either 1 Pokemon from my discard pile into my hand, or 1 basic energy from my discard pile back into my hand. So I can get back an Ogerpon to get a quick draw, or I can get back an energy to get back a quick draw or some additional damage onto Hydrapple. I then have 2 Earthen Vessels, which lets me search my deck I have to discard a card from my hand first, and then I get to search my deck for 2 basic energies, and then put them into my hand. Another good way to get out energy acceleration for Ogerpon. So for Rare Candy, I'm going to explain exactly what it does. So normally in the Pokemon TCG, when you evolve a Pokemon, you start off with a basic, and then you evolve into a stage 1, and you put it on top of it. But using Rare Candy, you are allowed to skip that rule and go right into the stage 2. So in this case, I can skip over Diplin and evolve right into Hydrapple. That is a good way for quick early game acceleration or late game surprise attacks. And either way, or late game comebacks. And Rare Candy is literally the perfect tool for that in this case scenario. Next, for my A-Spec of choice, I run Precious Trolley, which allows me to search my deck for any amount of basic Pokemon and put them onto my bench. So in the Pokemon trading card game, you have an active spot, and then you have a bench, which allows you to have 5 Pokemon on it. And once you fill that up, you can't put any more Pokemon in play unless you have a card that says otherwise. And 90% of the time, those are stadiums. So I am allowed to, at the start of the game, let's say I have a Applin in the active spot, I can play Precious Trolley, search my deck for 2 more Applins, and then 3 Teal Mask Ogerpons. And immediately I will have that completely set up. And then lastly, a single copy of Countercatcher, which, if I am behind on prize cards, allows me to choose one of my opponent's bench Pokemon and bring it up to the active for a quick, easy knockout. Next, for my tools, I run 2 air balloons. So how tools work is you can attach one to each Pokemon, and you attach it like this. And they each have different effects. So air balloon lets me reduce the Pokemon's retreat cost that it is attached to by 2. So retreat cost is right down here. So when you retreat, you have to discard an energy from the Pokemon to move it to the bench to bring up another Pokemon. But this makes it to where I don't have to remove any energies and can just move the Ogerpon from the active to the bench to bring something else up. Which helps a lot because I don't want to discard energies because then I lose damage. So I run 2 of those in this deck. For supporters, I run 2 Lana's Aids, which lets me choose any combination of up to 3 of basic energies and Pokemon that don't have a rule box. So EXs have a rule box. They literally right there. A rule box is basically just something that dictates a special Pokemon from something that isn't as special. And I can get any combination of 3 Pokemon without a rule box and energies for my discard pile and put them back into my hand. So I can get back 3 energies and then an Applin or a Diplin, or I can get back another small baby Ogerpon, anything like that, really. Then I run 2 copies of Arven, which lets me search my deck for both a item card and a tool card. So I can search out Precious Trolley and like an air balloon. And then I run 2 Boss's Orders, which just straight up, it's a slightly better counter catcher because I don't need to be behind on prize cards. I can just choose one of my opponent's bench Pokemon and bring it up into the active. 2 Iono, which makes you, both players shuffle their hand and then put it at the bottom of their deck. And then each player draws cards for the amount of prize cards they have. So if I have 4 prize cards remaining, I would draw 4 cards off the top of my deck, and my opponent would draw 6. Then I run a single copy of Cyrano, which lets me search my deck for 3 EX Pokemon and put them into my hand. So I can search out Ogerpon, Hydrapple, Iron Leaves, anything like that. And then Kieran, which has one of 2 abilities. Either switch my opponent or my active with one of my benched, or I do my active does 30 more damage to my opponent's EX Pokemon. So it's just a quick, simple damage boost. And then lastly, I run 12 energy cards, meaning in total, if I am properly set up, Hydrapple can swing for 390 damage. If set up properly. Pokemon need energies to attack, period. Or in my case, I also need them to draw. I hope that loosened things up and explained how to properly, not properly, but explained the deck a little bit. If you guys want to test it out, I will, on my Instagram, post the deck list. If you're on TikTok, follow, share, all of the above. And if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your night.